Welcome back to another episode of the 5 Tips with the Master Class. Today I've got Ricardo Mcrae, big man on campus for my life, man. Got me on podcasts on iTunes for the very first time, and we're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff today, including financial literacy. But let me do the honor of the intro.
Okay.
For those of you that know, I gotta rock my glasses now. But this is awesome. So Ricardo Mcrae is committed to creativity and commerce working together, and we'll talk about how that's going to happen in today's episode. Today, not only is he an amazing human being, but he's also bringing creativity to life as a host of the Framing Podcast on iTunes, and I'm on it. It's probably the best viral episode.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ever.
I sounded very Trumpish just now.
No,
it's the best. It's the best.
It's amazing.
And he's also helping families across Canada as a licensed financial advisor, which is a new pivot in your life, and I want to get to know all about that. But prior to that, Ricardo was a creative director at a boutique consultancy, Wedge 15, and the creator of blackincanada.com, Canada's leading source on black excellence, reaching over 1 million people in 100 countries with 30,000 plus fans and followers, which is incredible. And of course, shout out to you, your wonderful wife, Gloria, who's your co-pilot, Wedge 15. Educationally, which is really important, studied fine arts and business at the University of Windsor and the Ontario College of Arts and Design before acquiring his project management designation and becoming an award-winning entrepreneur and TEDx speaker. What a intro, my man.
Let's try to condense it. I've had a few years under my belt.
It is so good. And shout out to Dinesh, Sats.B, who launched the entire episode for connecting us many, many, many years ago.
I went to school with Dinesh in Windsor. Like, we go way
and your
back.
first gig together, he was saying, I hung out with him over lunch. I do pathway communications. Does that make sense?
Yes.
See? I did my homework, man.
This guy was big. I was like, what?
Yeah.
1990, that was it way back.
He was like, we're ballers coming out of school in our younger days.
Yeah.
So we had a chance to hang out on the weekend.
He's the man.
But yeah, I mean, Nick, you've seen some of the previous episodes, and I love these, half an hour conversations. Not only do I get inspired, but the feedback's been great. But today we want to talk about something very specific. We've been both entrepreneurs. We've had the pleasure of making some really good, financial success, but also lose a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And I'm 42, and I've gone through 4 great businesses, but I still think I'm an idiot when it comes to money management. Like, I like to keep my money in my pillow. Literally, because that's the only place I trust.
I know where it is.
You
wake up.
And the funny part is my brother is a financial expert. He's a VP at BMO, and he's got the stocks and the R's. Like, he's set for like 3 generations.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, I don't get it, man. And so, I want to talk about financial literacy. But let's start with something I heard you talk on the last podcast, which I thought was really exciting. This idea of an annual dissection of your life, and your measurement of love and revenue as a crossway.
Which I did listen, right?
Which I think is a fantastic exercise.
Yeah.
So I'd love to start there with, what is that exercise? How does it come about? And what is it?
Okay. So the annual dissection of life is something that we created, my wife and I created in Wedge 15. So we would meet with clients, discuss their business, have a brainstorming session, really get into everything about their business. So let's say we wanted to brand your company. Yeah. We'd sit you down, we'd get some wine, loosen things up, get some food, and we'd sit in a room and all the walls are filled with the sticky notes and white paper and lines. Right. And we're like, okay, so where were you born? And what's going on? And we map out your entire life and business in a way that you could see it on the wall. What comes out of that is that you're able to see paths that weren't there before because it's not on the wall.
Because it's in front of you now.
It's visual. No? You're like, I was 5 years old. I hated this, In fact, today I still don't like it. And you're like, yep. So we start to use those through lines in your life to create a business that makes more money for you doing the things that you love.
Okay.
So people always like, how do you make money doing what you love? I'm like, you've got to lay it out.
Which is the total opposite, because they're always like, you got to hustle, you got to grind, and if you like it, that's a bonus.
Right.
But you're flipping it, going, hey, there's a way to do both.
Yes. You have to, I always say this, if what you measure is what you can change or impact. Okay. So how do you measure things that mean a lot to me, like love, empathy?
Right.
How do you put that in a spreadsheet? And I'm like, you just put a little sections in love. you give it a score out of 10. And you're like, this is how it would work. We'd list pick your last, we'll do a small sample. We'll pick your last 10 projects.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether you got paid, whether they were free, list those last 10 things that you did. Then we have 10 columns, and we're going to give each of those columns a category. One would be love. One would be money.
Okay.
Did you make money or not?
Right.
One would be time. How much time did you spend on
Right.
it? Was it 2 hours or 45 hours?
Right.
One would be, did you enjoy it? What was the experience like? I can't remember the exact ones. I can send them to you in a
you
spreadsheet.
put that out, yeah.
So you put these 10 things in, and you start to rate each project on that. So this one made a lot of money, and I hated it because the client was an a-hole. You're like, okay, just give it the score out of 10, 1 to 10, and you keep adding these things up. Now, just about everything is a positive except time.
Right.
That's the only one that's a negative. So if you spend a lot of time on something, I consider that a negative.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So you add it up, it gives you the score, and then you're like, let's look at the thing, and you filter that I love the most.
Right.
And it'll filter stuff up. Now let's look over to the next column and see how much money those things brought in. Oh, this one made a little bit of money, this one made a lot of money, and I loved it. Interesting. This one made a little bit of money, and I hated it. That product is off the line. This one is. So we would remove products, we would start new things, we would say, hey, we like speaking, we like engaging, we like talking. Let's put more of that into our life. Let's start doing more speaking engagements because not only was it effective in generating new business, it was something that we love to do, and we were naturally good at that. So that's how we started building out stuff, and out of that came TED Talks and all these other things.
So, part of that means you got to be brutally honest.
You got to be
right?
honest.
But sometimes as a business owner, I have the luxury of like being brutally honest with myself and not necessarily my wife, because she doesn't need to know all the inner workings of what keeps me up at night about keeping a business.
Yeah.
But you don't have that. You and your wife are...
I do have that. It's
Yeah,
like we
okay.
happen to be married and in business together.
Okay.
So one of the things, even when we first got together before we were in business, was a commitment to each other to be brutally honest. And that's the word we actually use. We say, we're going to be brutally honest with each other about everything.
Wow.
Our finances, our money, how we feel, when you piss me off, what I like, what I don't like.
Yeah.
Like, in the moment that this stuff is happening, so in the beginning of that relationship, we had some moments.
Yeah.
We're like working things out, trying to figure it out, but the commitment was always there to be together.
That's the
So-
word, commitment.
The being together, being angry, and we're both in the same place, and we're not talking to each other because we're angry for 2 weeks, and we're not, like, stupidness like that.
Yeah.
Now that time is down to 1-2 minutes
Right.
if we're arguing about something. And it's not even an argument because we've learned how to be brutally honest and be gentle.
I want to do a whole show with you and Gloria to talk about this stuff, because there's so many entrepreneurs where they don't have the basic formula for the same honesty and integrity they take to the client business.
Yeah.
When I deal with my client, I'm passionate, authentic, I'm brutally honest. But then I'm like, you turn the corner and you go home and it's a whole different philosophy.
It is.
I'm guilty of it, and it took a very long time to learn how to do that. But you guys have a formula.
Yeah, we actually look at everything in our life like this. Like, we would put our life down, we would put our relationship. Like, we don't take anything for granted. And as we talk about, like, why does our relationship work, it's one of the things that we've really looked at, where it's honesty and don't assume anything.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Don't
we have
assume
just
anything.
always been, who takes out the garbage? Like, who said men have to do that?
Yeah.
Who brings in the most money? Who said, we actually just look at that stuff and say, is it true?
Yeah.
And then decide what we want to do in our relationship. Now, there is no right answer, but now that we have both decided how it should go, it's smooth. I'm like, I do the cooking and I don't do dishes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hate dishes, but I love to cook.
That's my house.
So people are like, who does the cooking? I'm like, I'm cooking. I'm like, what do you need? I'm making stuff up. I'm
now I've got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old that's doing dishes. So, yes, early
You've got the
benefits
little
of
dish
having
crew,
kids,
you've
man. So any before we segment into the financial literacy, any big, aha moment that came out of this process, like one that you could sort of remember that either was great that you built momentum on, or some sort of a decision to cut something that you built on?
It is really a way that we live. So I don't see it as a thing that we pull out. It's a way that I approach just about everything in life. I don't know if it's my project management background or business.
It is.
And it's just like, let's just measure what you want. So whether it's success at making change in the black community,
Right.
or whether it's success at making money, I always say if you're measuring the wrong thing, it doesn't matter what your result is.
That's great. Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
love
yeah,
is
yeah.
important to me, I'm like, measure it.
Yeah.
How much love happened in, Did we
That's
say
so
nice
good.
things to each other? I'm like, what's
We're gonna end this
going
episode
on?
with hugs, people. That's how much love I feel today.
Business hugs. I'm like, hug clients,
It's
love
funny,
them.
I'm doing a vlog today, actually. It's funny, we're talking about love, and we'll segment into financial literacy soon. But, I asked this question of, like, I don't say I love you often enough, right? And I'm like, what's the chemical,
What's
mental...
often enough? What's often
Like,
enough for you?
I feel like I want to say it as often as I say hello, or see you later, or bye.
Okay.
Like...
In life.
In life.
Okay.
To people that I meet. And it's like, why can't I say I love you, man? Why
Yeah.
can't I say see you later, I love you, man? Like, there's this weirdness about saying that out loud if it's not your wife or your kids, right? And I've had, a couple of really good friends where, at the end of the call, and they'll be like, okay, I love you, dude, talk to you soon. But I never
And then
repeat it.
and you're like,
kind of like,
okay, bye.
do I say I love you back? It's kind of weird. So I was
Do you
thinking
catch
about,
it? What do you do with
right.
it?
So I started experimenting with, when I say it, how do I feel? And for me, there's like a interesting chemical reaction. Just physically, how I smile, and it's a nice way to be like, hey, I love you, talk to you soon, right? And so today's vlog, which will come out, by the time this comes out, there's another show, but I feel like this whole topic of love could expand into this beautiful ideology on how to treat people.
Yeah, it's the best example I've heard of that was from this little kid who's 10. He said, treat everybody like it's their birthday.
Yay!
Like, hey, how you doing? Happy birthday. It's
Yeah.
like, I love you. It's like, it's totally okay in that zone. But if you greet everyone like that, where it's appropriate, not just people that you're meeting on the street,
course.
but it's, if you actually do love someone, you actually have a client that is amazing and you love them, like, that I think is incredible. And, people take emotions out of business. I'm like, forget that. There is no business decision that's not made from emotions.
Right.
We just find spreadsheets and all these other things
Yeah.
to justify why
Yeah,
we're buying the
absolutely.
stock. And why. Tell me you're going to buy a house and you're not going to take your wife there to see how she feels
Yeah,
about it. I'm like, not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's an emotional choice. Oh, it'll be financial and this. If your wife goes, I don't care what the numbers say, it's done. It's done.
It's over. It's not a smart investment unless she likes it.
She has to walk into space, and what is the first thing? I want to see how I feel
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
Not what I think and whether or not it's a good investment and what will it appreciate to. Whatever.
Man.
Let's sit in the kitchen. Good night, kids. Okay. Okay. We can do this one. It's all emotional.
No, it's good, man. It's good. So we're going to do a follow-up podcast with you and Gloria one day when timing works out to have this chat. Because I think, I've met so many young entrepreneurs that are either in business together and emotions are kicking in and they're trying to figure out how to separate it, or people that just don't have that fundamental, training on
The
how
EQ
to.
and
Yeah, they just
balance.
don't have it.
Yeah.
They're great business folks, ruthless, like smart money makers, shitty at home.
Yeah.
Basics of socks at the door and dishes in the sink, break things. So I would love to
Look,
have more.
if you're, for us, our home and our relationship is number one over business, over everything. I'm like, if we're not good, there's no point to any of that.
Exactly.
So it's like, yes, the money will be there, it'll be up, it'll be down, it'll be what it is. But if we're not good, I don't care what's going on out there. And we've been in business where we were arguing about something, and in the middle of the day we have project deadlines, and we just went, pause. I'm like, let's deal with this. And we talked for 2 hours and talked this thing out. And once it was done, hugs and kisses, we got back to it, or we got as done as we could get.
Right.
And we're like, I don't think I'm ready to say sorry because I'm not actually sorry. Brutal honesty. And, and she's like, okay, I get it. I'm not going to say sorry if I don't mean it. I'm not going to make you happy. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm wrong. And I'm not saying sorry. But this is where we're at. She's like, okay, let's go back to work. And, it brought everything down to about 40%. That was as good as it could get. We got back to work, finished it. Later on, continue that discussion, the growth opportunity.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So let's talk about this pivot, because we want to really talk about financial literacy, which I think is a huge issue with entrepreneurs, starting with this therapy session for me. Because it's really is about me right now and how
Uncle
I'm
Ricardo
so
will get you, don't worry.
Ricardo. So where does this passion start to move into financial literacy? And then let's segue that into some of the tips on not just how to be smart about it, or maybe some dumb stuff that people are doing now that they can, after watching it, stop You know, and everything we talk about, as you guys know, is actual steps, tips, tricks, whatever you take them as, that you can put into action now. Like, as much as I love the big thinkers, like Gary V's of the world, and I'm inspired by them like you are, this is about real people using real information to make real change.
If you're not a billionaire yet, like, what do you do when you
Right
have
now,
$200
right?
in your account?
Yeah.
What do you do when you have 10,000 in your account?
Exactly. You know
Like,
what I mean?
how do you grow that?
So let's segue into, you know, what was the passion that drove you into financial literacy, and then you take me into your 5 tips, and I'm ready to take notes.
All right. Let's see what happens. So financial literacy and even looking at money, I call it now looking money in the eye. Having a real honest sit down. Can you look at your bank account in the eye?
I can't, man.
Yes, you can.
Most days I'm like,
And I'll tell you why that feeling comes up there. It's because we all grew up with money or without.
Yeah.
We were either spenders or savers. We had, we liked money, we didn't like money. We heard stuff like people who have money are X. People without money are Y. It's like, I can want to do good in the world, so I have to be virtuous and give up all of my money. So we have all of these notions. And the thing that I like to say is this. If we switch the word money with strawberries,
okay.
it sounds ridiculous. All of a sudden, it's completely ridiculous. People who have strawberries are people who have strawberries. People who love strawberries aren't evil. They just like strawberries. When I was growing up, I didn't have strawberries.
Yeah.
Well, that's me.
I didn't know what
You
it
want
was.
strawberries? No, go get strawberries. Like, they're right at the store. So
There were rich people food when I was growing up. Strawberries, you get bananas, that's
you get
it.
bananas. You get 29 cents a pound. You get so when you take that charge out of it, and as we look at money and we look in our lives, it starts to calm down a bit, because all of those thoughts and ideas are driving everything that we're doing around money, and whether we have it or we don't. And if you believe that rich people are idiots or a-holes or amoral, you will never have money.
Okay.
You won't allow yourself to make money because that is not who you are.
And you perceiving that's who you would become if you have it. So you
believe that is who you will become.
Right.
For sure.
Okay.
Because if rich people, when you have money, you become somehow evil. I'm not evil. So I will do whatever it takes to have enough, but I'm not going to have excess. I'm not going to have my account overflowing and overflowing.
Interesting, yeah.
So we have to look at our fundamental belief and thoughts around money and what that means. Once we kind of realize that it's strawberries, and money, in my opinion, magnifies who you are.
Okay.
That's all it does. So if you see someone that's an a-hole, trust me, take away their money, they'll be exactly the same way, except they ain't got no money. And if someone is awesome and they make huge donations, or they donate their time, or they hire young people and they train, like, imagine you had 10 times, or you had 6 more zeros in your bank account. How many more people can you impact?
Exactly.
You would just be like, oh, damn, I could get like 45 students in here, and I could teach more, and you will do more great, you will just be a bigger version of yourself, which impacts the world. You would donate to the causes that you care about in a way that will actually make a difference. I know someone who wanted to do missions, and she was like, I was this weekend, actually. And she was like, yeah, the money's not important. I'm like, hang on, you in business, money is important. She's like, yeah, but I don't want to be that person. I'm like, what is that person? Did the strawberry thing. And she's like, you know, you're right. I said, so let's say you donate $1,000 to this orphanage. What if you're able to donate 20,000 or 100,000? She goes, would that make a difference for them?
Right.
I said, so your job is to do what you're good at in the world, do what brings you money, so that you can be a better person, a better human. Money amplifies you.
So why are you getting into this fight now?
So my wife and I have Wedge 15. We had our son 18 months ago. And there's nothing like a baby to have you look at your life and look at your future and look at your past in a whole different way, because it's no longer about you. It's all cliche, and that's what happened for me.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. And I'm sure Stan, who's over there, feels exactly the same way.
I started looking at life from his eyes. My eyes were done. I'm a grown man. I got a beard. I had my fun. What can I do for him and for his children? So I'm thinking about my grandkids.
Right.
I want them to remember my name. I want my great-grandkids. Then I started looking backwards. I'm like, what did my dad do? What did my grandfather do to set me up in life so that I have the best opportunity and the biggest options to actually move forward? And when I started looking at what people did or didn't do, my grandfather had a store, 3 generations. I was groomed to take it over. It burnt to the ground because he didn't believe in insurance.
Ah.
And I'm like,
Jeez.
dude, it's like, what? Didn't believe in insurance, burnt to the ground. Wow. And I'm like, all right, so I'm coming to Canada.
Huh.
So shortly after that, immigrated to Canada. My dad
I had no idea.
No,
Jeez.
it's the first time I'm ever sharing this. My dad did what he did with his money. He made a lot of money. He did very well, studied at McGill and worked in pharmaceuticals and was trading, and he did well.
Yeah.
2, 3 cars and the whole deal. But didn't set me up. There was no education, there was no talking, there was no, this is what you do with money, this is how you invest, there was no communication and sit around the dinner table and talk about that. So he knew what he knew, and he did what he had to do for himself, but neglected to pass that on or educate me. So I'm going along, starting my businesses, doing my thing, and I'm doing rookie mistakes.
Right.
101. I'm like, oh, I got the money to spend it like that.
Vegas.
Exactly. I've had a couple trips. And so looking at my son now, I'm just like, what do I want him to say about me when I'm gone?
Right.
Because I know I'm going to go.
Yeah.
There's nobody alive that gets out of life alive. Like, we're all going to go. It's not morbid. It's strawberries.
You could be 200 years old when you go, man.
Look,
There's a health formula for that. I read about it on Vice.
But you're going to go.
Yeah.
You could run a long race. You know, the race could be long or it could be short, but it will come to an end. The world, this is what the universe looks like. Things are created and they stay around for a bit. And I don't care if you're a tree or if you're a mole or if you're a human. At some point, you tag out.
Up, yeah.
It time's up. So what do you do while that time is here? Strawberries. To make it good for the people who are coming after. How do we grow? How do we do these things? So when I started looking at Wedge 15, what we've built, lots of fun, great projects, I'm like, where is the reoccurring revenue? Where is the opportunity to continue to get paid long after we finish a project? I'm like, we started building some online schools, and we looked at time and this. And again, we took ourselves out of it.
Right.
Strawberries, let's just look at it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about how I feel and my ego of, well, I built this thing, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I will stay here forever. Yeah. It's like, well, sometimes we just have to stop that. So when I looked at that, we got introduced to financial services. Someone started telling me how it worked and this. I was like, well, you know what? I actually don't know.
Yeah.
Let me go find out. I'm just going to go ask some questions. And I did. And the more that I found out, the more that I realized that that was one of 2 industries in the world where you can get continuous profit share as time goes on. The other one is like music industry or sports, where you have,
royalties.
You get royalties, right? You write a song,
Yeah.
and for 100 years, you're still getting paid on that. I'm like, that's a good model.
Yeah. You just need one hit, Macarena.
That's it. You write one hit song, you'll never sleep on the street.
See how I chose Macarena? It shows my age, man. There's so many new hits.
The young kids are like, what's a Macarena? Is that from Kraft? What is?
Cue music. No. No, that's
Google
awesome.
it. Google it.
So at the end of this process, now you're a licensed financial advisor. You started to work with some people. Let's get into some tips.
Okay.
Give me some actionable things that young entrepreneurs, and my audience is young millennials. We're talking about people that are in that 20 to 30-year-old range, mostly confused, lots of passion, making really simple mistakes.
Yeah.
Then in hindsight, they're like, oh shit, I wish somebody had
told
said,
me.
don't do this, right? And so let's dive into it. Tip one.
Dive in. Tip number 1 is strawberries. It's just strawberries. It's money. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. Really start looking at your beliefs and ideas around that. So get a book, read it, go to the self-help section around money. And just read it and just start discovering that what money really means. Pick any area you want and dive into this cake.
Right.
And just start educating yourself about the basics of money and how it works.
Can people, without a third party's help, detach enough to see it as strawberries? Like when you were talking about, I was thinking back to my old childhood, and bless my dad, but we lived as a very poor family, like very, very poor. And it was much later in life where, I got a glimpse of his finance, and he was a rich, rich dude. Like,
You're like, dude, why were we?
I was like,
we could buy a dishwasher. I did not need.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because so much of my young time was living in utter poverty, right? And I look back on, okay, when I dissect his relationship with money, is this constant fear that one day it's gonna all be gone. So I'm always saving for this rainy day. And the rainy day came, you know, unfortunately he got cancer and spent 5 years sort of doing that and,
Yeah.
and passed away, never fully appreciating the life he could live with the finance that he earned. But the ripple effect is I hate money and I love it with such extremes.
Yeah.
Can somebody listening to tip one independently sit down and sort of do that, or should they meet with somebody like you and go through that exercise?
They can meet with someone like me. If you're honest with yourself, and I mean when you sit alone in a room and you look in a mirror, I'm going to tell myself the truth. It'll work. If you know that you're going to leave a little hole that you can escape, or you're going to like get other help to actually stop that, because if that little hole is there and it's like, well, I'm going to say this about money, but I really believe it sucks. I'm like, don't do that. That's not, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Know that and really.
Cool. So tip one, start thinking about money from an unemotional perspective. Redefine it to strawberries, if
Strawberries.
it helps reduce the intensity, and be brutally honest about your relationship with money, with
Yeah.
no judgments.
No judgments. Like, it is what it is. It's strawberries.
Yeah.
You know, my dad made a lot of money, saved it for a rainy day, then something happened. What is that? What did you make that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean that you should spend money when you have it and enjoy it, because you never know?
Yeah.
Does that mean that you should be tight with your money, or you should spend, like,
Yeah.
you made something, like,
Yeah.
just think about that. Like, what did that mean to me?
Yeah.
Like, what do I believe about it?
Yeah,
Like-
it's funny. I developed this mindset of a hustler that people celebrate today.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's really came from that mindset of I never want to be broke.
Yeah.
So I will take whatever as long as I'm getting paid. And over time, I got better. But, you know, even at our height, there's days where, like, a client will call me and be like, I have a quick little $5,000 thing. And I'm like, I know I'm at a level where I don't want it. But when I hear it, I can't not take it.
It's like,
Because
geez,
I'm like,
you're
yo, there's another $5,000 that might never come, even
Yeah.
though we're doing, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. That noise just bugs me, so I chase
they
it.
show you a check, you're in.
Right?
You're
And
in.
on the flip side, I get these moments where I feel like I could die anytime, and I'm not enjoying my money, and I'll go out and buy a $300, you know, AirPods
Yeah.
that are good. I love them, but my headphones were perfectly fine, right? But this is my love-hate,
Yeah.
you know, and I still haven't, at 42, had that honest conversation yet. So I'm going to follow tip one as we
right.
get into tip
Good.
two.
Tip number 2. Put all of it down on paper. Get one sheet of paper. It should fit on one page. Don't get all crazy with spreadsheets. You don't need that. Just draw a line, put your bank accounts, put the balance. If you have investments, put those down. If you have debts, student debt, put it down. And just look at it. And just really get honest. Look money in the eye. And be like, this is my financial snapshot.
And when somebody does that, and I've done it a couple of times, when you only see negative, okay, because not everybody starts off positive, but, you know, when you just see negative, does it beat you up?
Strawberries.
But I guess tip one is get unemotional.
Get unemotional.
Don't go to tip two until you did tip one.
Tip 1. Repeat tip 1 if you get emotional in tip 2. It's strawberry. So you're just looking at what it is. And if this is what it is and it's minus 30,000 because of debt, that's your number. Now, the key is, what are we going to do about that? How much money, and where do you see yourself in 1 year, in 5 years? Do you want to be debt-free? Do you want to have credit cards? Do you want to have a couple trips in there? Do you want to go to Maui? Do you want to just drink on the weekends and hit the clubs? What do you want to do? And just be honest about that. If you want to take a couple of years off and just relax, then actually put that in and know when you're going to stop and know what to do.
Right.
So it's not always about making more and making more, just being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Is this good enough for me? Like, what if I took out another 5 or 10 grand and just, you know what, I just need some time to relax. I've been going to school for 10 years. Let me just do what you have to do, but be responsible about it and look money in the eye.
Yeah.
You're in charge of money, and you can do what you want with it.
Yeah.
You can spend it, you can have a good time, you can save it, but start looking at your life. Whether you want to or not, in 5 or 10 years, it's going to show up with or without any help from you.
Yeah, and that's a great tip because a lot of times we tend to save for big things. I'm saving for my house. I'm saving for my retirement. But you know, people should start thinking about I'm saving for a time off. You know, a mental break. I want to save $5,000 and spend 2 weeks in Dominican or go to Mexico or Spain.
I want to get my bank account to zero.
Right.
I want to,
I
think of the mental freedom and the power and the way you walk in the world, knowing you owe no one nothing.
Yeah.
I have no debts. I have none.
That's a powerful thing.
Like really, and that's zero.
Yeah.
That's not +1. That's just zero.
Yeah.
You buy something, you be like, yep, that's been handled. So the freedom that you get when you just hit zero or you start to grow your money and you end up positive is tremendous. It'll change your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely change your life because you walk differently.
Yeah.
You put $200 in your pocket, walk out, you walk different.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, excuse me. Hold the elevator, I'm coming.
Mr. Bala.
Or you walk outside with a bus ticket and you're like, man, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Like you just walk different when you're able to look money in the eye and you're able to manage it. Now, the key to having that feeling is knowing that you can look money in the eye and you have a plan for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like wanting to get married. You don't wait until you get married to be awesome. Like you're awesome while you're dating, you're awesome while you're engaged, you're awesome, planning. Like you're all along, like you're a different human being as you go through that process. The same with money. The minute you have a plan and you know where you want to go, all the other decisions in your life start to fall into play. It's, do I party Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? But if I gave up 2 of those days, I'm spending $100 a night, times 2, do that times how many weekends in the summer, be like, hey, that's half my debt.
Yeah.
I could party 1 night a weekend. Still have a good time with your friends. Nobody will miss you.
Yeah.
You say, is it going to be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday?
Yeah.
Or Thursday, whatever your night is.
Yeah.
But when you go out, you have a good time, do what you got to do. But the other 2 nights, you take that money and you put it towards your debt because in 5 years, or whatever that number is, you'll be debt-free or you'll be halfway to debt-free or you will. So those things really, really add up.
Cool.
But dance on both sides like that. Like pay it off and make sure you reward yourself.
So let's dive in a little bit deeper. I don't want to get too nerdy. But one of the students I spoke to last week, she was like, hey, I'm being told by the bank to carry some debt so I can build some credit because unless I borrow or owe, there's no history of me. Yeah. And for me, that sounds counterintuitive because we're saying go zero, go debt free. But the system says unless you carry debt, we don't know how to gauge you.
Yeah.
Right? So what am I off on?
Super straightforward with that. They're saying that because I have to be careful what I'm saying in this zone, so I'm going to be
the
honest.
opinions of this show is, no.
There's a disclaimer that'll come up. Read this disclaimer. Some debt is good, some debt is bad.
Okay.
When you're able to manage your debt, which means make all your payments on time, it's good debt. But when you start to slip on a payment or two, that's when the system has
they flag you.
That's when they got you.
Yeah, okay.
They're like, oh, we know your limit.
Yeah.
So you have a credit card, it's 10 grand. And the number doesn't matter. It's 10 grand or $500. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So your number is $10,000. That's your credit card. They're like, hey, Mr. Bala, you qualify for a $20,000 increase. You're like, I'm the boss. Put it up. And then you jump on a plane, you take a trip, you buy some stuff, you get some new AirPods. And then you go up to now you're like $50,000. You're like, okay. You start making your payments. Then one day you call the bank and say, look, I'm going to make this payment, but it's going to be 5 days off. They're like, okay, no problem. Now they know they have your threshold for your ability to pay. And once they got you at that zone, they know they have you on a payment plan because you can't pay it all off.
Right, okay.
And once you can't pay it all off.
That's when they make the money.
Oh, every month. Then compound interest comes in. They move your interest rate from the 0% to 2%. You miss a payment. They're like, no problem. Now you're up at 19 and 21% interest. And oh, boy, do they have you.
Okay. No, that's important to know because so many of us, and I was telling, the kids at Ryerson, you go to Frosh Week, they hit you with free credit cards.
Yeah.
That's all they do. Here's a credit card.
Sign up, it's free. You get a T-shirt, you get a pen.
Yeah.
Yes, take the $500 credit card. It's good to have credit. You don't need more than $500. $500, you can establish your credit.
No bottle service, man.
Do not-
desiFEST is like $1,000 on a Saturday night. So bring a friend with a $500 credit.
Buy some Heineken. Don't buy the big bottles. You get yourself, here's my bottle service. I'm going to have a Corona. That's my bottle service. Know your limit. Play within it.
Cool.
Don't worry.
Tip 3.
So understand this simple principle of compound interest and why it matters to your life. So Google this if you don't know. Pause, go Google, how does compound interest work? I'm going to try and explain it in a couple seconds. So you have a credit card, it's $1,000. I'm going to pick some nice round numbers. And the interest rate is 20%. So you have $1,000, at the end of the month they say, let's pay $100. That's your minimum payment towards your credit card. But the interest rate is 20%. So they're adding 20%
To the total.
to the total. And it says in the fine print in your credit card, we will pay the interest first, and whatever is left, we'll put it on the principal. So let's say it's $1,100 with interest. They will take your 100. No, it's $1,050. It's $1,050. So now they will take your $100 payment, take $50, pay off the interest first, take the other $50, put it on your debt.
So
now
only
you're at
half
nine.
of that.
You're at 9. I'm using half. I'm being
Right,
generous.
right. Yeah.
I'm being generous.
Okay.
Do the Googling. So now your debt is $950, not $900.
Right.
And the next month they come and they do that again. They be like, yeah, no, you got to
So
pay.
this is catch up that's never going to balance.
This is why they keep raising your limits, because they want to get you right here, where you like. And once they have you at that zone, and they'll be like, yeah, let's give you another $1,000. That'll push you over the edge, and now you will only be able to make your minimum payments, which means
Right.
that you're chipping away at your debt at a rate of something at like, it'll take 40 years to pay it off.
Whew.
So that compound interest is a beast.
I don't know if you guys just understood what just happened. Like, this is massive.
Yeah.
Like, this is massive. It's wow.
So $500 is enough to set up your cell phone credit, and yeah, that's all you need. As long as you have credit, it's fine. You start making more money. The bank sees a couple statements after about 90 days. They're like, here's a $50,000 credit card. Like, it's not that difficult to build credit once you have good credit at $500 and your money scales.
Yeah.
Trust me, the bank will come knocking.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled that you have to set it up before, and no.
Yeah, no, my wife has a great philosophy. She only spends money on a credit card if she get 100% paid off.
There you go.
If she can't pay it 100%, she doesn't, only because she wants the points.
Right.
For that. So it's not necessarily a credit card strategy. It's I want the point
It's
strategy.
a deferred.
Right.
Well, that's good. Now we're saving the money in
She's
the
much
bank.
smarter than I
You're
am.
getting the interest.
Yeah.
You're spending it on the credit card at $0. At the end of the month, you
Yeah.
pay it off in full.
Yeah.
I use American Express like that. I get awesome points. So I put everything on the Amex, end of the month,
Yeah.
pay it to $0.
They've got a great
Pay it
lounge.
to $0.
It's not sponsored by American Express, but they've got a great lounge that I love in the airports. So shout out to
Entrepreneurs,
those
like,
guys.
yeah, it's really it's a good card for
So
business.
compound interest, scary until you become educated. And this is a
Educate,
quick
yeah.
15-second tip, but you got to go Google it, man, or get in touch with Ricardo.
Go to YouTube, type in compound interest. How does it work? Like, understand that,
Yeah.
and then you'll see.
Now, on the investment side, it's positive because compound interest starts to grow your money.
That's your
right?
best friend.
Right? So there is a positive, which we'll get to. But in the context of this, compounding interest will hurt you on interest rates on
It'll,
credit cards.
yeah.
Cool.
It's, you
Number
wanna get
4.
that as low as
Number
possible.
4. We're going good, man. I'm almost sad. We only got one more to go. But
One more.
Tip
Let's
4.
see. Start saving now. It doesn't feel like you're going to retire one day because you're all piss and vinegar and strong and you're out the club. You're drinking all night till 7, you're going to work for 8 and you're sharp. That's like, we can't do that. And it's a function of, we didn't just choose these bodies. We grew up your age. We were doing we did worse than you. I promise you
Hey,
that.
I remember those like Thursday to Sunday nights,
Oh,
man.
man.
Straight goods.
Trust me, I did everything you were doing. And if I put aside a little bit of money all along the way, it would have made a massive, massive difference in my retirement and in my investments.
And how little? Because like I remember when I was telling my sister the same thing, and this is way, a
Yeah.
long time ago, and she's like, but I only have like $50 to put aside every month. What
a
is
lot.
that going to mean? Like, at the end of the year, it's only $500. But I'm like,
Yeah.
first, compound interest will catch up, but $50 is still good.
Yeah. How much do you think a registered education fund is a month for your child? It's $50.
Yeah.
But after 18 years, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars that you can hand your child to go to school.
Right.
So imagine you started saving $50,
Yeah.
$25. Please put it aside, have it automatically come out of your account and go into a high interest
Yeah.
savings or investments, preferably investments where you're getting better than prime
So
on your money.
If saving, and I've heard about savings when I was a little kid, and you did, and people still talk about it, but people still don't save.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it like, why aren't people saving?
They don't know. They don't know, and they have life pressures.
Okay.
So 90% of Canadians are not in a position to retire at the standard of living that they're living right now. 90%.
Wow.
So you look around the room, there's 10 people, one of them can retire and live in the house that they're living
1,
in.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
One of them.
Layla has the best chance.
Layla's got a good shot. She's like 7.
She starts saving now.
She's like, Layla, she said, give me the money, Dad. I'll just put it aside. So remind me of the question.
Why aren't people saving?
Right.
It
Life is
seems
happening.
like so obvious.
It is. It's based, as I said, they're not looking money in the eye. And
Right.
it's not strawberries. It's coming with, oh, I don't have enough money. It's not the right time. I've got bills to pay. Rogers is calling me. Like the student loan, I've got to pay that off. I'm like, listen, before you pay any of that, please develop this habit of taking $10, $20, $50 and putting it aside and saving it before you pay anything or anyone else. If you do nothing else with this video, start doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't care where you are and how much debt you have, how much you don't, start saving before you pay any of those things off.
Now, being an automation lover and just
Yeah.
a lazy person in life,
Efficient.
One of the best people, or one of the best mentors I've ever had said, you got to save it even before it hits your bank account. So do you know of any tools or banks or anything where you could automatically go, okay, I made $100 this week,
Yeah.
but like move $10 here, so I'm not even thinking about it. Because that's
Right.
one of the things that the new generation
Yeah.
of young people.
Can I do it on the app on
Right?
my phone?
So is there a way
Absolutely.
to automate or make this thing more efficient so it's not even hitting my account properly?
You go to your banking institution and you can ask them to automatically set up a percentage or a
Oh, you
number.
can? Okay.
And they can like pull that off and put that into.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can like automatically pull that out. So it's.
Yeah.
I would ideally like it to go to an institution that's not part of your primary banking,
Sure.
simply because you don't see it.
Right, okay.
And you don't want to have it on the same card. I'll just transfer from that account.
Yeah,
you end up, you end up getting a little leakage.
Especially going to the ATM when you're drunk. Okay, always
Friday
go to
night,
the ATM when you're sober.
Bottle service, and. So I do that through a bank, my bank, ING. So I have the money automatically
Right.
come out and hit
Tangerine
that.
now? Is it?
Tangerine.
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 We
That's
did
how
we did some work for
classic
them, so
I am.
represent. But yeah,
So
we're
Tangerine
dating
does
ourselves.
that, or any of the PC Financial. Most of those give a slightly better interest rate, and there are no fees. So I put my savings and things in those banks.
Cool, man. So we've got 4 incredible tips. So I can log into my notes so I can tell you guys what it is. As we get into our 5th tip.
The 5th tip around money is, this is going to be different. Buy life insurance.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, take me there. Take me there.
It's like, why would you need life insurance? I'm 20 years old. I'm perfectly healthy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the best time to buy life insurance. The best time to buy life insurance is when your child is born, when your child is 2,
okay,
when your
okay.
child is 5, when you're 20, when you're under,
They sell it that low, like that young.
15 days old.
Get out of here.
15 days old.
You name the baby, get fresh diaper, get life insurance.
For sure. Like, please do that.
Huh.
Because what happens is this. Life insurance is like it locks in. So it locks in your health. It locks in your age. So if a baby is 15 days old, 30 days old, and you buy life insurance, the odds of that baby passing are slim to none for the next 90 years.
Right.
So you buy, there are 3 different types of life insurance, but you buy one that has an investment portion. And let's say you put $50 a month
Yeah.
on life insurance. $10 of that 50, making that up, would go to the investment. And every month, $40
Okay.
worth of insurance, $10 goes to investments. What are you going to get on that investment? $1
Yeah.
after 4 months? But do that for 18 years. Do that for 25,
Wow.
30 years. And that starts to grow, and
Huh.
it grows. And the investments at a certain point, get the interest on that investment
Right.
gets so high that it's able to pay for the life insurance policy.
Huh.
And because the interest on your investment is paying for the policy, you stop paying. But you maintain the life insurance policy for the rest of your life.
That is awesome.
And it continues to grow, and you have access to that investment, and you can borrow against it. It's like having a personal bank.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, most people don't know that. They're like, what do you mean? You can have insurance with investments. Talk to me, call me. I'll be glad to sit down with you and show you this. Most people don't know this, but that type of insurance is probably the best thing that you can buy for growing your wealth and growing your money. I have one for my son, and based on conservative numbers, by the time in his mid-20s, he'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars available to him. So if he
That's
wanted to
amazing.
start a business, this is on top of his education fund.
Right.
So it's, again, they're not big amounts, but
Yep.
they're consistent. And if you buy the right product, it will change your
Yeah.
life.
You know, I've got insurance for myself and my wife, but I never thought about the kids. This is why I love these shows,
Dude,
man.
Here's how we looked at it. Our little bundle of joy, I said, how long do you think it would take me to get myself back into the headspace to go to work should something happen to me?
Yeah.
Like, how many months you need? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I would be done.
Yeah.
Done. So that's my protection. Now, how do we protect him with that same policy is that because it's growing and you have that investment, when he's 25 or 30 or whenever he wants to take that over, I'm handing him something
Right. That's got
as a
equity.
legacy so that he can say, yeah, like I want to start a business, I want to start a company. I don't need to go to a bank.
Yeah.
I could just take a loan against my insurance policy and off we go.
Huh.
The bank will give you a loan based on that insurance policy.
Right. Yeah.
So you could like get the one with the lower interest rates. You can get money and top it up so the investments grow more. It's a sweet thing.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
And you're giving them an option, right? Which
It's
is
a
what as
huge
parents,
option.
we want to always think about. What options can we
It's tax,
give?
like tax-free when you're passing on wealth. Like if all of that money goes to someone else, my insurance policy when I pass goes to them tax-free.
Yeah.
Because the government's I could get into it.
It's incredible.
But we're
man.
trying to keep it to
Yeah.
5 quick points.
No, it's good. It's
But
it's
yeah.
great. So I'm going to recap. Number one, understand your relationship with money. And, you know, we're calling it strawberries. And if that makes it
It's
less
simple.
emotional for you, use different terminology.
Blueberries,
Whatever it is, but get to a
clouds,
spot where you can be
kittens.
honest. Kittens is a weird one. But yeah. And number two, write it all down. Until you document your current financial status, good or bad. I don't care if at the end of it you're showing a negative 300,000. You write it all down, and then you ask the question of, okay, what's my plan?
Yeah.
And if you can't answer it, call somebody and
Yeah.
be like, here's what I know. Help me get a plan.
Absolutely.
Right? The greatest thing I did was when I turned 20, started my first company, brought on a financial consultant, and he asked me the exact same question. He said, what do you want to do in life? Not how much money you want to make. What do you want to do in life? And I painted out this beautiful, you know, story of I want a house, I'm gonna have a wife, I want a pool, this is, you know, I'm a poor kid, this is like definition of success. We had a plan, and at 40, I purchased my dream house. You know what I mean? And so there's a plan, but get the plan. Number three, understand compound interest and how it's hurting you today. So that you can do right away. Like look at your bank statements, look at your credit card statements right now, and if it's hurting you, make a plan.
Switch it to call up a different institution. Move it over for a lower interest rate.
Yeah.
Just doing that will save you money.
Yeah, 100%. Number four, start saving now. Not tomorrow, not next paycheck,
Any amount.
right now. And
A penny and up. Just start.
Just start.
It's a
Get
habit.
into the habit.
It's a habit.
The same way you eat and you go to the gym and you hang out with your friends and see your parents and buy clothes. I can go on and on and on.
It's like getting a six-pack.
Okay.
Start with a crunch.
If you're disciplined enough to watch Game of Thrones every week with a new episode, you can save money. Okay? Or turn that TV off. Number five, and this threw me, buy life insurance, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's big. And it's a whole different way to look at an institutional tool like life insurance in a whole different way as an investment opportunity, as something that will set you up later in life. And you're right. When
Even
you're
before
young,
later in life. It has a living benefit.
Yep.
It has a death benefit. It has legacy benefit.
man.
This is how the uber wealthy transfer money and make sure people are taking. You hear people at trust funds and they're sitting back and getting paid. This is what we're talking about. These are the tools that they're using so that they never have to work again for anyone. And yeah, I'll start another company. Like,
Yeah,
this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm
Awesome.
like, talk to me, I'll show you.
Ricardo Mcrae, 5 tips from the master. Today's about financial literacy. How do they get in touch with you for one-on-ones?
One-on-ones, you can reach out to me. I'm on all social platforms, but I spend a lot of time on Instagram, Twitter. You can email me, ricardo@wedge15.com.
Which we'll put in the bottom.
Please do.
And right before you go, one last question. And this could be a big question, but I want to just give your version of it. Almost every young person I meet look at me and go, how did you figure out what you want to do, man? And my answer is, which I'll tell you after.
Okay.
What's because you've pivoted a couple of times.
Yeah.
Podcasting, running a successful consulting company, now helping hopefully millions of people get smarter with money. All of these pivots and this big question of, what do I do?
How do you find your passion?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's finding your passion is an active thing. It's not something you're going to find on scrolling or clicking or tweeting. It's something you have to do. So find or do something, and out of the actions, you will find your passion.
Okay.
Like, you didn't think about a business, you started the business.
Yeah.
You didn't think about, do I want to get married? Like, you did it, and out of doing it is where the passion comes. You learn what you hate, you learn what you like, you start doing more of what you like, tie that in with money, and all of a sudden, you look back after 40 years and go, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you kept doing things. It's not, if you're thinking about stuff,
Wonderful.
change that. Get outside, go for a walk, do something, talk to, like,
Yeah.
if you're not physically doing something, you're not on your road to finding your passion.
You heard it from the man, and thank you so much for coming by today.
Anytime, man.
This has
Anytime.
been a 5 Tips Masterclass with your host, Sats.B and Ricardo Mcrae. And please get in touch with them. Buy them a cup of coffee. Say what's up. These are actual tips that you can use right now so that in a very short future, you could completely change your financial view on how you live and how you function. And again, if you get stuck, he's not some big New York headshot that you can't get in touch with. Tweet him, Instagram him, take him out for a cup of coffee. Start a conversation and do you. So it's Sats.B. I'm out. This is 5 Steps Masterclass. Please check out all the previous videos and subscribe below and comment and all that fun stuff. Thank you.